Hi, Wilson.
Hello, Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV. Here we are. We have a
Here we
remix,
are.
remake. I was just telling Wade, there's always going to be scrutiny when you take on a classic. So what went into saying yes to taking on the roles you guys play? Simone?
Tell me that last part again.
What went into saying yes to taking on this project?
Honestly, the script and the vision. Once I read Chuck's words and got to step into Wade's world of how he wanted to shoot it and how he wanted to bring these characters to life, it was a no-brainer. And then Nicole, it's a no-brainer. Literally.
All right, Nicole, what about you? We don't often see you in so many projects, so obviously to see you on screen is always a treat. So what led you to say yes?
Oh, thank you so much. Well, number one, I'm a diehard fan of the original. So that the original is a movie that I know. I know every syllable of every dialogue of every single character. And so, never in my life did I think I would have the opportunity to play Rose, but when it came up, I was like, oh my God. And then my second question just to myself was, well, what is it going to look like? How is it going to be different? How could I even, fill the shoes of this role? And then I got on a Zoom with Wade and talked to him about his vision. And after I spoke to him, it was an immediate yes for me.
Now, there's two layers of this. There's the babysitting aspect, and then there's the fashion aspect of it. Obviously, both of you are connected with the fashion aspect. With the roles you're playing, how much did you know about the fashion world from a business point of view after you have done this? Did you know so much before that, or did you know afterwards? So,
me.
Yeah.
I've always been interested in fashion and inspired by fashion, and so it was cool to play a girl who is also just thrown into the world, and definitely inspired me to really, put that shit on afterwards, to really put some stuff together because it matters. So really cool.
And what about you, Nicole? When you're spitting out those words of how much did you really know about the fashion world? You've had your share of being on the scene and so forth, but when you have to spit out those words, do you hear them? Now pay attention to what these people have to go through in real life?
It really was, I had to shoot that scene in one take, and it really was the only reason why I was able to memorize those lines is because I work in fashion. And it's not exactly what I do, but I could at least visualize it in my head and make sense of what I was saying. And I kept saying to Wade, I was like, thank God I work in fashion and that I can somewhat understand what I'm saying, because Rose is very in her head. She's very manic. And we're watching her from Tanya's point of view. So, we are always looking at Rose, from a teenager's point of view. And teenagers think, I have two of them, and they think that adults are insane. So
crazy. Yeah, literally. I'm like, this woman's nuts.
Yeah. So, it was not only memorizing the lines, but really saying them in a way that just felt so overwhelming to Tanya's character. But I'm happy that I, at least had some understanding of what I was even saying.
Wade's an actor. He's a writer. He's a producer, so what's it like working with somebody who's also been in front of the screen, but now, this is not his first time directing, but when you're working with somebody who's also a peer?
It's a dream.
It is. He's such an artist, and so it was very easy. And he's such a visual person too,
Mm-hmm.
and so he had boards, color palettes, and even just the way in which he spoke about what he wanted to create. It was very easy for me right away after talking to him to really understand what he was going for. And I think just, he really taps into his creativity in everything he does. And so it was perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. You got it.
No, I was going to say, go ahead, Simone, what you were going to say?
Oh, just having directors who are actors is just the best, because it's not just we need to get from A to B, it's how we get from A to B, and it's rooted in something real. So he's great at that.
And at the end of the day, my last question is, obviously, what do you tell people in terms of, there's a lot of product out there in TV, cable, streaming, theaters, so you have to market it. So at the end of the day, when you're telling people, oh, there's a remix, not just with Black folks in it, but what's another reason to tell people to watch this movie?
To me, this is a feel-good family adventure. And, those movies were just, there were so many of them in the late 80s and the early 90s, but we don't have a lot of those now. And I think to really just sit down and enjoy a piece of work and really have fun and just be able to laugh is something that I know that I need. So I just assume that everyone needs it.
Oh my gosh. And very much that. And it's hilarious. It's so funny. And it's funny for Black people too. Like in a way that's like, I don't even know how to word this. It's just like, there are inside jokes that only we would get if you're on the inside, and we're very much on the inside this time. And so it's written for us in such a beautiful way, and also ends up being universal, which I love.
Congrats on the roles. Congrats on the film. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Wilson Morales from Black Film TV. Hey, Wade, how's it going?
Wilson, it's so good to see your face, to hear your voice. It's been a minute. Obviously last time we were like really talking, well, we saw each other at that spot in Harlem, but then with Jay, but obviously, you were one of the first and only people that I really talked kind of in depth to about French Dirty. So this is full circle.
Yeah, here we are now. That was the brother directed this film, that film. Here you are directing this movie. Obviously, there's always criticism that comes when people do remakes. Why do this one?
Yeah. Well, first off, this was like, I needed a job. You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest. Like, this was a script that got sent to me in a time where I had another movie set up. And I was like, I don't know, remake, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. I don't know that that's for me. But then, it always comes back to the script. And I read Chuck Hayward's script. I was like, let me give it a chance. I read 30 pages and couldn't stop. Was laughing the whole time. I was like, this is, way better than it has any business of being, to be honest. And that's all due to Chuck and his imagination. And so after that, it was kind of a no-brainer. And I just continued to fall more and more in love with it. And I will say, the big surprise was how personal it felt. I'm the oldest of 4 siblings. And so in reading that, I was like, this is a sibling love story that I know so deeply. And even though it's this kind of zany, off the wall, movie, and it is a redo, I was like, look, sometimes you got to play in the sandbox you're given.
Mm-hmm. And then, you have a cast, but what's it like now being a director's chair, directing people you either know or you're getting to know?
Nobody in this cast I knew before making this movie, but I will say that being an actor obviously helps the conversation when we're on set, because we're sort of like, I know what it is. I know what it's like. We can kind of have this short talk in between each other in order to like get to the places we want. So it's been a really natural progression for me. Obviously I've been a director for quite some time, but like all the other things that I do and have done in my life, from being a dancer to being a musician, to being a writer and to being an actor, have completely prepared me for being a director. So I got to be honest, it's felt super natural and fantastic.
Now, when it comes to this movie, it's modernized because we're talking, there's gadgets in here that we didn't have 30 years ago. How much more did you want to make it different from the original, so that way this one stands out on its own?
Yeah. Well, I think we wanted to do that in 2 ways. Number one, I think a lot of remakes try to be so different and so hyper contemporary that it ends up feeling like, to me personally, like something that is just like it's always reaching. And I was like, let's not worry about being hyper contemporary. Chuck has already taken care of that for us with the gadgets and stuff like that. Let's just do what feels cool, what feels good to us, and then we'll be able to find exactly the thing that we need.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've talked about, you've done other films that you've directed or other projects you've directed, but this one obviously is getting some attention. Where do you go from here? What else do you want to do? Is this the lane you want to stick to, or do you want to still keep your day job that we know you as an actor?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm coming out in a Benedict Cumberbatch series in May as an actor. So I think for me personally, I go where I'm excited. I go where the passion is. And the passion was to direct this movie. I have things that I've written. And, as an actor, that is a thing that I need to express myself as a human being. So I'm just going to kind of continue to go where it feels good.
Mm-hmm. And before I let you go, what's the thing that you got out of directing this movie, skill set wise, that helps you out moving forward, whether it be as a producer, writer, director, or an actor?
The thing that I got out of it the most?
Yeah.
Man, I mean, like I said, I think being a director and the knowledge that like it's really all about the people that you hire, you know, because in all these other roles, there are very specific skills. And the most important thing that you need for a director is vision and communication. And then you're kind of standing in one place in a lot of ways and having the people that you brought around you to help you kind of accomplish that vision, you know?
Wade, congratulations on this
I
movie.
want to say one last thing actually before we get off to the remix point. I think because this is specifically for you know, Black folks remixing and remaking movies. You know, the thing that I really came back to when it came to a remake, because I had some reservations about it myself, you know, but when I start thinking about the early days of hip hop and like, you know, what Biggie did with Entombed's Juicy Fruit, you know, a lot of people said that that wasn't real music, that that wasn't a real thing. He was just like talking over beats. And now we know that that is a cornerstone of hip hop. And I think for me, taking these, you know, traditionally white stories and putting Black actors in them, it was really important to think about it like that, because as Black people, that's what we've done for so long, you know, is kind of take things like that have been other people's and made it our own in ways that now is like completely authentically ours.
Well said. Once again, congrats on this movie. Obviously, I want to see more of you in front of the screen, behind the screen. I'm here to support. Take care.
The biggest supporter. Thank you so much, Wilson, for everything you do.